Reports have just surfaced that Jessica Mulroney, the woman who was once the keeper of all Meghan's secrets, has been offered a staggering $1 million deal to write a tell-all memoir, and insiders are saying this is the absolute worst-case scenario for the Duchess. We are looking at a potential betrayal that cuts much deeper than anything her father or half-sister could ever come up with, because Jessica was there for everything. She was the architect, the confidant, and the sister Meghan never had, right up until the moment she wasn't useful anymore. If this book happens, it's not just a scandal. It's the collapse of the entire narrative Meghan has spent years carefully constructing. Welcome back. We need to talk about what is happening right now, because the timing of this could not be more disastrous for Montecito. Just as we are seeing silence from the Sussex camp, this news breaks. It's the kind of story that makes you realize that eventually the past always comes knocking. For years, we have watched people come and go from Meghan's life. We've seen staff members quit, we've seen family members estranged, and we've seen childhood friends quietly disappear. But Jessica Mulroney was different. She wasn't just a friend, she was the vault. And now, someone has handed her the key to open it, to the tune of $1 million. Let's really look at why this specific threat has the palace, and specifically Meghan, shaking in their boots. To understand the magnitude of this, you have to remember who Jessica was. Before Harry, before the titles, before the global fame, there was Jessica. She was the one styling Meghan, introducing her to the right people in Toronto, and essentially crafting the image that would eventually catch a prince's eye. They were inseparable. You couldn't scroll through Instagram without seeing them calling each other sisters, drinking wine, traveling, and sharing clothes. Jessica was the one who knew the real Meghan, the woman behind the curtain before the world started watching. She was there when the relationship with Harry was a secret. She knows the timeline. She knows what was said about the royal family before the wedding. She knows the truth about the relationship with the Cambridges, or rather, the Waleses now. And then we saw the discard. This is the part that really resonates with so many of us who have lived long enough to spot a user when we see one. When Jessica got into hot water a few years ago over a disagreement on social media, a moment where she was accused of white privilege and faced a massive public backlash, what did her best friend do? Did she stand by her? Did she offer a word of support publicly? No. Meghan went silent. She ghosted her. It was a cold, calculated move to distance herself from controversy, leaving her best friend to drown in public opinion alone. It was brutal, and it showed a side of Meghan that many people had whispered about but hadn't seen so clearly until then. Once you are a liability, you are gone. But here is the thing about discarding people who know where the bodies are buried. It's a dangerous game. For a long time, Jessica stayed quiet. She posted cryptic quotes here and there, but she never went full scorched earth. But silence doesn't pay the bills, and revenge is a dish best served cold. If this $1 million book deal is real, and it looks like it is, it means Jessica is finally ready to cash in on the years of loyalty that were thrown back in her face. And she has the receipts. We aren't talking about vague memories here. We are talking about text messages, emails, and voice notes. Think about what she could reveal. We have always heard rumors about Meghan's behavior leading up to the wedding, the Duchess' difficult stories, the tiara tantrums, the issue with Princess Charlotte's dress that reportedly left Catherine in tears. Jessica was there for all of it. She was right in the middle of the wedding planning. If anyone knows whether Meghan actually made Catherine cry, or if it was the other way around as Meghan claimed to Oprah, it is Jessica. And something tells me her version of events might look very different from the one we heard on that interview. But it goes deeper than just wedding drama. Jessica knows the state of Meghan's life before Harry. There is a reason this is being called Meghan's worst nightmare. It's not just about being embarrassed, it's about being exposed. There is a very distinct fear that a memoir like this would dismantle the saintly image Meghan tries so hard to project. It's hard to play the victim when your former best friend is explaining exactly how you manipulated situations to get what you wanted. It's hard to preach about compassion and community when the person who supported you the most writes about how you cut them off the second they became inconvenient. The industry insiders are buzzing because a book from Jessica would likely be vetted by lawyers, sure, but it would be raw. It would be the voice of a woman scorned. And let's be honest, there is nothing quite as destructive as a friendship that has turned into a rivalry. We have all seen it in our own lives, friends who know too much turning into enemies. It is a specific kind of volatility. And for Meghan, who relies so heavily on controlling the narrative, losing control of Jessica is a catastrophe. What makes this even more hot right now is the context of everything else swirling around the Sussex brand. They are already struggling to keep their projects afloat. We've seen the Spotify deal crumble. We've seen the Hollywood reception turn icy. They are running out of allies. If a book comes out now, detailing the ruthlessness of Meghan's ambition from someone who watched it up close, it validates everything the critics have been saying for years. It confirms the social climber narrative. It confirms the ruthlessness. There is also the financial aspect to consider. Jessica Mulroney has her own life, her own family, and her own reputation to rebuild. $1 million is a lot of money. But the opportunity to clear her own name and tell her side of the story might be worth even more. She was painted as the villain in their breakup, while Meghan walked away with her hands clean. This book would be her chance to say, I wasn't the bad guy. I was just the one who got used. And we have to wonder, what is the specific trigger for this right now? Why February 2026? It feels like the dam is breaking. Perhaps Jessica has seen how vulnerable Meghan is right now. The public sentiment has shifted. 5 years ago, writing this book might have gotten Jessica cancelled forever by the Sussex squad. But today, people are hungry for the truth. The gloss has worn off. The fairy tale has shown its cracks. People are tired of the lectures and the word salads. They want to know who this woman actually is. There is also a lot of speculation about what Jessica knows regarding Meghan's connections prior to the royal life. And this is where things get very dark and very murky. Because while Jessica was styling Meghan for galas in Toronto, there were other social circles Meghan was moving in. Circles that involved high-profile individuals, travel, and perhaps connections that the palace did everything they could to bury before the wedding. Jessica would have been privy to who Meghan was dating, where she was travelling, and who was funding her lifestyle before the royal purse strings opened up. We know that Meghan has always been very careful about scrubbing her past. Her blog, The Tig, was shut down. Her social media was wiped. But you can't wipe another person's memory. You can't delete the experiences you shared with a best friend. Jessica is a living, breathing archive of Meghan Markle's pre-royal history. And that history is exactly what Meghan has been running from. The fear in Montecito must be palpable. You can only imagine the frantic phone calls happening right now to lawyers and PR crisis teams. Do they try to pay Jessica off? Do they threaten to sue? The problem is, a lawsuit often brings out even more truth during the discovery process. If they sue Jessica, she might have to produce the very texts and emails they want to keep hidden. It's a trap. They are cornered. And let's not forget the emotional component. For Meghan, who portrays herself as a champion of women and friendship, having her sister write an exposé is a personal failure. It proves that she cannot maintain long-term relationships. It highlights a pattern of behavior that we have seen with her father, her siblings, her UK friends, and now her Canadian best friend. The common denominator in all these broken relationships is her. As we wait to see if Jessica signs on the dotted line, we have to look at the bigger picture. This potential memoir is acting like a lightning rod, attracting all the other rumors that have been floating around the internet for years. It's opening the door for people to ask, if she is lying about her best friend, what else is she lying about? And that question leads us down a rabbit hole that is much darker than just a broken friendship. It leads us to whispers that have been circulating on the fringes of the internet for a long time. Whispers about yachts, about powerful men, and about a past that looks nothing like the humanitarian image we see today. Because just as this news about Jessica is breaking, another story has resurfaced online. And this one carries a lot more weight than just social climbing. It involves photographs, it involves names that make everyone uncomfortable, and it involves a scandal that shook the world. If Jessica Mulroney decides to talk, does she open the floodgates for the rest of the past to come pouring in? It seems the internet isn't waiting for the book. The detectives online are already digging, and what they are finding or rediscovering from 2016 is causing a storm of its own. If Jessica Mulroney decides to put pen to paper, she doesn't just hold the key to the friendship timeline, she holds the map to the missing years. You know the ones I'm talking about. The years where Meghan was supposedly just a struggling actress and a lifestyle blogger, yet somehow managed to vacation in the most expensive corners of the world, rubbing shoulders with politicians, oligarchs, and royalty long before she met Prince Harry. And this is where the story shifts from a simple betrayal between friends to something potentially much more scandalous. If Jessica talks, she might inadvertently or purposefully shine a light on the rumors that the palace has been terrified of since day one. Because just as we are digesting the news of this potential memoir, the internet has done what it does best. It has started digging. And what surfaced on February 9th, just yesterday, has set social media on fire. We need to talk about the photographs. Specifically a photo that is currently circulating with thousands of shares and likes, alleged to be from August 2016. This isn't just a blurry paparazzi shot. This is being analysed by internet sleuths as a potential smoking gun that links the Duchess to one of the most notorious circles in recent history. The image in question shows a group of women relaxing on a luxury yacht. It looks like a standard vacation photo until you look closer at the faces. One of the women, wearing a wide-brimmed hat and oversized sunglasses, a classic disguise we have seen Meghan use 1,000 times, bears a striking, undeniable resemblance to the Duchess. But it is the company she is keeping in this photo that is causing the real uproar. Seated nearby is a woman identified by many online investigators as Karina Shuliak. For those who don't follow the dark details of the Jeffrey Epstein saga, Karina Shuliak was known as Epstein's last girlfriend. She was the woman found with him in Paris. She was deeply embedded in that world. Now you have to ask yourself, what would a cable television actress from Toronto be doing on a yacht with the inner circle of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell in 2016? This was a time when the rumors about Epstein were already public knowledge. This wasn't 2005. This was 2016. If that is indeed Meghan in the photo, and the resemblance is uncanny, it completely shatters the narrative of the naive American who didn't know anything about the royal world or the high-stakes games played by the global elite. This brings us to the term that has been whispered in comments sections and blind items for years: Yacht Girl. It is a term the mainstream media refuses to touch, but we can talk about it here. In the circles of the ultra-wealthy, yacht girls are often beautiful, ambitious women, actresses, models, influencers, who are invited onto these mega yachts to provide atmosphere and company for wealthy men. It is transactional. It is networking. It is a way to hunt for a rich husband or a producer who can give you a big break. There is nothing inherently illegal about it, but it certainly doesn't fit the brand of a global humanitarian and feminist icon, does it? The speculation is that Jessica Mulroney knows exactly how Meghan was funding her lifestyle before Harry. She knows who was paying for the trips to St. Bart's, the Soho House memberships, and the designer wardrobe that cost more than a suit's salary could cover. If Jessica exposes the reality of those years, the Yacht Girl label stops being a conspiracy theory and starts looking like a biography. And it gets darker. For a long time, there have been rumors that Meghan's name appears in the sealed Epstein files, not necessarily as a co-conspirator, but perhaps as a witness or an associate. The phrase witness is interesting because it implies presence. It implies she was there. It implies she saw things. And if you connect the dots with this resurfaced photo involving Karina Shuliak, the picture becomes very clear. Was she brought into that circle as a guest? Was she introduced to Prince Andrew way before she met Harry on a blind date? Think about the panic this causes in the royal family. We already know Prince Andrew's reputation is in tatters because of his association with Epstein. Imagine if it came out that Harry's wife moved in the exact same circles. It would explain so much of the tension. It would explain why the Queen might have been so hesitant. It would explain the hasting of the wedding. If the palace knew that there were photos like this out there, they would have been desperate to lock everything down and bury the past. But the past is like water. It always finds a leak. The timing of this photo resurfacing right now, alongside the threat of Jessica's book, feels coordinated by the universe. It is as if the protective shield around Meghan has finally evaporated. For years, calling her a yacht girl would get you banned from social platforms or labelled a conspiracy theorist. But now the photos are trending. The discussion is out in the open. People are looking at her history with fresh eyes and realizing that the math doesn't add up. The Yacht Girl narrative is so damaging because it strips away the victimhood. You cannot claim to be a victim of the press and a victim of the toxic royal institution if you were a willing participant in the ruthless transactional world of high society yachting. It suggests a level of street smarts and calculation that contradicts the Bambi-eyed innocent girl who told Oprah she didn't Google her husband. If she was on yachts with Epstein's associates, she didn't need to Google anyone. She knew exactly how the game was played. She was playing it at the Olympic level. Why is this story hot right now? Why are we seeing thousands of likes and reposts on this topic today? It's because the audience, you, me, the public, is tired of the gaslighting. We are tired of being told that what we see with our own eyes isn't real. We are tired of the sanitized version of history. When a photo like this drops, or when a best friend threatens to write a book, it validates the gut feeling many of us have had since 2018, that we weren't being told the whole truth. There is a sense of the other shoe dropping. We have watched the family drama, we have watched the Netflix series, and we have read Spare. But those were all narratives controlled by Meghan and Harry. What we are seeing now is the unauthorized version, and the unauthorized version is always where the truth lives. If Jessica Mulroney accepts that $1 million offer, she won't just be writing about flower girl dresses and text messages. She will be writing about the woman who existed before the tiara. She will be writing about the hustle. And if she confirms even a fraction of the yachting rumours, or if she confirms that Meghan knew people like Marcus Anderson of Soho House and the Epstein circle intimately, it is game over for the brand. You can rebuild a reputation after a bad movie or a failed podcast. You cannot rebuild a reputation when the world finds out your humanitarian persona was a mask for a much grittier, darker reality. The palace insiders who said this is a nightmare are understating it. It is a catastrophe. Because once you pull the thread of the Yacht Girl days, the whole sweater unravels. It calls into question the meeting with Harry. Was it really a blind date? Or was it a set-up arranged by mutual connections in this shadowy world? We have to wonder how Meghan is reacting to this behind closed doors in Montecito. Is she panicked? Is she calling lawyers? Or is she realizing that no amount of PR money can scrub a photo from the internet once it has gone viral? The Markle sparkle has faded, and what is left is the cold, hard reality of a past that refuses to stay buried. This is the nature of the beast. You can step on people on your way up, you can discard your best friends, and you can ghost your family. But the people you leave behind have memories, and in the digital age, they also have photographs. The combination of Jessica's potential testimony and these resurfacing images creates a storm that I don't think Meghan can weather. Ultimately, this is a story about hubris. It is about thinking you are smarter than everyone else, thinking you can rewrite history, and thinking you are untouchable. But as we are seeing today, no one is untouchable. Not even a duchess. The truth is coming for Meghan Markle, and it is coming from the people she used to call friends. I want to know what you think. Do you believe the photo from 2016 is really her? Do you think Jessica Mulroney will actually sign the deal and tell the truth about the yachting years? Or will she take a payout to stay silent? Let me know in the comments below, because this conversation is far from over.